fresh edition of newspaper headlines on Metro 97.7 FM. But you know how we do this. From now till 7 o'clock, we'll be seeing headline stories captured in different newspapers here in Nigeria. So do well to be a part of the program. You know how you can be a part of it. You can send a message using any of the numbers 0916 That's 0916 1214. That's the number to send your WhatsApp messages to 0916 Or you can send a message on the SMS using the SMS number 0901 133 9791. That's 0901 133 9791. These are the numbers to send your messages to. Not forgetting we're on Facebook, facebook.com/Metro 977 Live. So just go on Facebook and check out our page, Metro 977 Live. We have the headline stories on Facebook. Do well to drop your reactions in the comment section this morning. My name is Ahmed Olalekan. I'm saying good morning. Welcome to Newspaper Headlines on Metro FM. And my producer is also here, Charity Gedosa. We're saying stay here and let's look at these issues together. Don't go away. All right, we'll kickstart the review this morning with stories captured inside the Guardian newspaper. Guardian newspaper for this Friday, August 22, 2025. We'll kickstart with a banner headline here. Alaafin versus Oni, old warpath for new entrants. We have the picture of the Oni of Ife and the Alaafin of Oyo just beside that headline story. And rift deepens in PDP over Lagos gathering ahead of Ibadan convention. Catholic bishops threaten to dismiss politically inclined clerics. So you can see that story inside The Guardian. Catholic bishops threaten to dismiss politically inclined clerics. More of that story in The Guardian. And the Nigeria's FX reserves hits $41 billion. Highest in 44 months, says CBN. Ebonyi landslide kills two as state government seals mining site. Sad story on the front page of The Guardian newspaper this morning. And RMAFC defies uproar, reviews remuneration packages for office holders. We can see details of that story on page 3 of The Guardian newspaper this morning. RMAFC defies uproar, reviews salary packages for office holders. The story comes with two writers. Why reward greed while Nigerians starve? This is coming from Obi. And the second writer says, pay rise for politicians is insensitive. Plot to set Tinubu up, says Lawal. But you can see these stories inside the Guardian newspaper this morning. And despite mounting debts, NNPCL declares 185 billion naira profit, says FAC. Pays FAC 7.9 trillion naira. That's a story inside The Guardian. Despite mounting debts, NNPC declares 185 billion naira profit, pays FAC 7.9 trillion naira. Well, that's a huge sum. You can see details inside The Guardian newspaper this morning. And more stories in The Guardian. Take a look at the back page of The Guardian. Bruce picks email cone, 47 others in Bafana's preliminary squad against Super Eagles. Wafu B CAF Women's Champions League. Bielsa Queens arrive Abidjan, sure of qualification. And a few more backstories. Arsenal in time crunch to get Eze ready for Leeds United clash. And avoid you seek now. Avoid you seek now. Hating advices Itoma. These are some backpage stories in the Guardian newspaper. I just get a copy of the Guardian to see details of those stories. Let's see more stories in the Guardian. Inside stories now captured in the Guardian newspaper. And this one reads, it says, we shall defeat pharaohs against us. Adeleke assures PDP members. INEC issues certificate of return to August 16 by-election winners. Details inside The Guardian. And harder, faster, how quest for sexual validation boosts manpower business, organ damage. Well, you might need to read this story up, especially as a man in Africa. The interesting headline story in The Guardian. More stories captured in The Guardian. Corporal punishment undermines children's development, well-being, says WHO. And ASU threatens fresh strike, says federal government's loan scheme. Poison chalice. Aimbas Emo Prince as Nasarawa United unveil new players. That's a story inside the Guardian newspaper. World Bank. Federal government commit $70 million to second phase of Ideas project. World Bank, federal government commits $70 million to second phase of Ideas project. And beside that headline story, Nigeria on track to achieve 2.5 million barrel daily target by 2026, says NUPRC. Nigeria on track to achieve 2.5 million barrel daily target by 2026, says NUPRC. And the Tinubu woos Nigerians in Japan, urges contribution to national building. You can read that story up in The Guardian. Tinubu woos Nigerians in Japan, urges contribution to nation building. Nigeria's mining sector, positioning for global relevance, says Alake. Well, if that story interests you, get a copy of The Guardian newspaper to see details in there. DMO to auction 200 billion naira FGN bonds. Talking about the debt management office. DMO to auction 200 billion naira federal government bonds. Well, if you're interested in that story, you can get a copy of the Guardian newspaper to get details this morning. And the Shippers Council seeks Senate's backing on collection of freight fee. Nigeria's FX reserves hit $41 billion, highest ever in 44 months, says CBN. I think we saw that story on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. You can see details inside the Guardian. Otedola, how my father's £250,000 loan changed my life. Otedola, how my father's £250,000 loan changed my life. You might need to read that story up if it motivates you as a businessman. And all the stories inside the Guardian newspaper this morning. Let's move now to the Punch and see headline stories captured in the Punch. If you're just joining us, you're listening to newspaper headlines on Metro 97.7 FM. More stories now in the Punch. Remember, you can drop a reaction if you find any of these headline stories interesting. You want to talk about it. Send your messages to the number. Our WhatsApp number is 0916-257-1214. That's 0916-257-1214. You can also send us an SMS to 0901-133-9791. That's 0901-133-9791. These are the numbers to send your messages to on Facebook and on WhatsApp. We have, remember, if you send in a message on WhatsApp or using the SMS and you're doing it from outside Nigeria, remember to add the code +234 916-257-1214. Or you send a message to +234 901-133-9791. These are the numbers You can send your reactions still this morning. I just drop a message on Facebook, facebook.com/Metro977 Live. All right, 23 minutes past 6 is time check now. Let's check some more stories captured in the Punch newspaper. CDS 2027 polls behind surge in killings. CDS 2027 polls behind surge in killings. That's coming from the Chief of Defense Staff. That story is inside the Punch newspaper this morning. Your contributions needed at home, Tinubu tells Nigerians abroad. Your contributions are needed at home, Tinubu tells Nigerians abroad. While Napoli rejected PSG's £200 million for Osimhen, that story is inside the Punch. You can read more this morning. Nigeria on track to hit 2.5 million barrels per day oil output. This is coming from the federal government. And Oyo to pay 1 billion naira compensation on circular road projects. Female corps member recounts Anambra Security's horror assault. A sad story. That story trended earlier this week of a corps member that was assaulted. Female corps member recounts Anambra Security's horror assault. Details of that story inside the Punch newspaper this morning. And 3 US-based Nigerians jailed 8 years for $520,910 fraud. 3 US-based Nigerians jailed 8 years for $520,910 fraud. And UK leads Nigeria's Q1 capital inflow with 5.5 trillion naira. You can see details of that story inside the Punch newspaper this morning. And UK recognizes Alaafin as Yoruba supreme ruler. Owode tells Oni. UK recognizes Alaafin as Yoruba supreme ruler. Owode tells Oni. Well, you need to read a copy of the Punch newspaper this morning to get details of the story. And the PDP crisis, Wike camp rejects zoning talks with Makinde. This is Makinde Diri. It's inside the Punch. PDP crisis, Wike camp rejects zoning talks with Makinde Diri. You can see details in the Punch. Now let's see some more inside stories captured in the Punch. 4 arraigned for suspected defilement cases in Anambra State. And 6 policemen nabbed for assaulting Rivers man in viral video. EFCC, NIS expel another 51 foreigners jailed for cyber fraud offenses. And a Lagos businessman jailed for attempted drug export. So you can see that story in the Punch. Still in the Punch newspaper, Imo couple, orphanage operator arrested for child trafficking. Lagos car wash attendant nabbed for stealing customer's vehicle. Well, Lagos car wash attendant nabbed for stealing customer's vehicle. And a family of 12-year-old boy seeks 4 million naira for corrective surgery. That story is inside the Punch newspaper this morning. You can get details there. And Pope Leo declares Friday Global Prayer Fasting Day for Peace. That's today. Pope Leo the 14th declares Friday Global Prayer Fasting Day for Peace. That Friday, talking about today, 22nd of August. Elon Musk's SpaceX launches secretive U.S. military spacecraft. Interesting story. Well, if it interests you, get a copy of the Punch newspaper to read details. And the Japan City mulls 2-hour daily smartphone limit. Japan City mulls 2-hour daily smartphone limit. Interesting story. We're going to take a deeper look at this headline story later on the program this morning. Nigeria safer. Attacks reduced. This is coming from the Chief of Defense Staff. Nigeria safer. Attacks reduced. The Chief of Defense Staff is saying that in the Punch newspaper. Southeast safer after Simon Ekpa's arrest, says defense chief. You can see details in the Punch newspaper. Your contributions needed at home. Tinubu tells Nigerians abroad. We saw that story inside The Guardian. We have details in the Punch newspaper this morning. And Oyo states to pay 1 billion naira compensation on circular road projects. Governor Namadi Hills livestock processing project in Jigawa State. These are headline stories captured inside the Punch newspaper. Before we hand the mic over to our analyst Malaki Ugo this morning to get his thoughts on the different headline stories captured, let's see some stories in the Vanguard newspaper. The Vanguard comes with these headlines. Climate change, how floods worsen Nigeria's healthcare crisis. Climate change, how floods worsen Nigeria's healthcare crisis. And the insecurity worsening pains of North coming from the ACF. 2027, fresh crisis looms in PDP over zoning formula. 2027, fresh crisis looms in PDP over zoning formula. We have the picture of Wike and Makinde just beside that headline story. You can get a copy of the Vanguard newspaper to get details this morning. And the suspected armed headers invade Imo village, kill vigilante leader, others missing. Suspected armed headers invade Imo village, kill vigilante leaders, others missing. Sad story. And how Yahoo boys, intruders, invaded AAU, led to killing. This is according to the vice chancellor of that university. And beside that story, we have a very, very sad story. Fake doctor nabbed after botched abortion kills woman in Akwa Ibom State. Fake doctor nabbed after botched abortion kills woman in Akwa Ibom State. And moving on in the Vanguard newspaper, court restrains police from summoning Nedu Wazobia over business dispute. Truck rams into shops, killing 3 persons, injuring others in Ebonyi State. And Ibom Air fracas. Emerson appears before NCAA. You can see that story in the Vanguard. And the cybercrime war, EFCC immigration deport 51 more convicted foreign fraudsters. Faith leaders to Tinubu, reducing security by fixing hardship. And Ondo police investigates motorcyclist found dead in well. Insecurity, worsening pains of the North coming from the ACF. You can see details of that story in the Vanguard. And the crisis, PDP won't go into gutter with Wike. This is coming from Makinde. Crisis, PDP won't go into gutter with Wike. Makinde saying that in the Vanguard newspaper. And a few more political headline stories captured in the Vanguard. The fresh crisis looms in PDP over zoning as South-South stakeholders dismiss Diri's meeting. How division in opposition may hand Tinubu an easy path to 2027 victory. And Amechi would get ADC ticket, his presidential bid dead on arrival. Coming from the minister of the FCT, Wike, Amechi won't get ADC ticket, his presidential bid dead on arrival. You can see that story inside the Vanguard newspaper. And vandalism, causes of national grid collapse coming from the TCN. Vandalism, cause of national grid collapses. That's according to the TCN. These are headline stories inside the Vanguard newspaper. Remember, you can be a part of the broadcast. Just send a message if you find any of the headline stories interesting this morning. Go ahead and send a message using the number. Our WhatsApp number is 0916-257-1214. That's 0916-257-1214. Or you can send a short message to the number 0901-133-9791. Or just go on Facebook and search for our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is Metro 977 Live. So just go on Facebook and search for Metro 977 Live. We have the headline stories on Facebook. You can also drop a reaction in the comment section this morning. 28 minutes before 7, this time check. It's still newspaper headlines on Metro 97.7 FM. It's time now to move the mic over to our analyst in the studio, Malaki Ugo. Malaki, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
All right.
And, thank you for the headlines. I begin with the insecurity-related stories. There are about 5 or 6 of them. One of the stories, or one of the headlines, is where the Chief of Defense Staff is indeed issuing what could be regarded as a pass mark. And of course, the other stories are stories which are, of course, the exact opposite of what the Chief of Defense Staff appears to be saying. So you could see that the fight against insecurity could be said not to have delivered that expected result of that expected in fact could be said not to have expected could be said not to have delivered what Nigerians are actually looking forward to, which is a realistic scaling down, whittling down of the level of insecurity. In fact, Nigerians would want a complete eclipse of insecurity. It's not that you may not have shoplifting, pickpocketing here and there. That's not the kind of insecurity we're talking about. We're talking of insecurity that has seen people being terrorized in many villages, in many communities across the country. We're talking about insecurity that has seen people being abducted, and of course their families being made to cough out money that never budgeted for as ransoms. We're talking of insecurity that has made people to be reluctant to move from one place to the other. And once the citizens of a country are not interested in embarking on travels, no matter what you do, the economy suffers. It's not about the National Bureau of Statistics going out there to put out figures with regard to economy improving. Once there is a reality check, and the reality check is such that people are not able to move from one place to the other to transact businesses across communities, across geopolitical zones, across local government areas, across cities, definitely the economy of that country suffers. It's not about speculation. So the Chief of Defense Staff will still have to, if he is the coordinating officer with regard to the fight against insecurity, definitely he and his colleagues would have to do more, because yes, in one breath he is giving the security agencies a pass mark, but in another breath the people concerned are saying, look, not much has been done. And of course, we have seen instances in a village in Imo, the leader of a vigilante group had to lose his life to someone who is into one form of terrorism or the other. So it is important, and it cuts across different parts of the country. So the security agencies will still have to do more.
Okay.
And in doing more, it's not just about throwing money or rather buying just equipment. No, it is important for the security agencies to begin to show interest in prosecuting the masterminds of insecurity. It is important. And of course, it's also important for the country to move away from giving a soft landing to persons suspected of being involved in the different levels of insecurity, whether it is terrorism, abduction, insurgency, and of course violence or thuggery, violence and thuggery. Stop giving them soft landing by way of pronouncing them repentant terrorists. No. Allow the legal system to do that. The political class should not be the ones pronouncing suspects as going ahead hastily, with due respect, pronouncing them as repentant terrorists. Allow the legal system to do its work, serve them that appropriate justice,
Okay.
and determine whether, in fact, determine what should be their status. It's not the political class should not be doing that. So, if such things are done, and of course there are other things, there are time may not permit us, but it's important to start with what I have just mentioned. It will help in reasonably in the fight against
Terrorism in Nigeria.
terrorism, in fact, against insecurity. I move on quickly to the other stories that has to do, yes, to the other headlines. One is about floods. Of course, once you have floods, it affects quite a lot of things. The healthcare system was mentioned. Of course, floods also affect agriculture. And floods also affect human and vehicular movement. It's not just healthcare that floods would definitely affect. And floods also would normally affect people in their different living spaces. So destitution may increase. Homelessness is likely to increase. The way to go now is for the relevant agencies to up their game. It is not good to allow people to begin to embark on estate development without embarking on adequate town planning, landscaping, and of course mapping. These are basics that should be done. So what it means is that the Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development in each state should have to up its game. There are many places in Lagos and other parts of the country that ought to have drainage channels, but unfortunately you don't see drainage channels. So why wouldn't there be flooding there? Of course, that's an invitation to flood. No proper drainage channels. In most cases, you see the residents of different areas coming forward to just have a makeshift passage for water. That cannot suffice. Flood will always ravage those areas because proper town planning never took place. Proper landscaping never took place, and proper mapping never took place. In fact, at the outset, there should be the three things I've just mentioned, and it is in the place of Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development of every state to actually do that. Asking people to move to higher grounds at the 11th hour is not what is expected of the relevant organizations. Begin to do your work from the beginning. Do those things you are expected to do, and of course monitor estate development. once someone is crossing the red line, once someone is not complying with the relevant construction rules and regulations, you spot that estate developer and ask him or her to do the correct thing. And I want to believe once that is done, the level of flooding in different parts of the country would be controlled. And of course, the problem that is creating either in the healthcare sector or in the agricultural sector or in the different homes, and of course in as many sectors as possible in transportation, those problems will now begin to pale into insignificance. And of course, that appeal, there's a headline there, an appeal to Nigerians in diaspora to please remember home and contribute towards national development. It's an appeal that is in order. It's an appeal that is in order. And of course, in fairness to Nigerians in diaspora, a good number of them have not forgotten home. That some persons are managing to survive in the country today because of remittances from persons, Nigerians in different parts of foreign countries. It is not easy for quite a lot of them. Some of them don't even have homes. Some of them don't even have proper immigration papers or documents. They find a way to generate revenue. They find a way to make money, which of course they send back home. So they are doing quite a lot. It's the reverse of what used to be the case many years ago in this country, when money used to be contributed back home here in Nigeria and sent to those in diaspora. Yes, contributions of their loved ones back home help them to survive overseas. But now the reverse is the case. It is those who are overseas that send money to their loved ones here to be able to eke out a living. What that is telling us is that the nation has not done well with economic development.
Okay.
And it is important that the nation begins to attend to those gaps. Nobody should pretend that gaps do not exist. There are gaps in as many sectors as possible. Once, as a country, you no longer have factories or industries that you used to have, definitely you are likely to have problems. And that's exactly what is happening with Nigeria. And as a country, you are enveloped by insecurity, as it is the case with Nigeria now. Definitely you are going to have economic problems. And as a country, you are not doing well to support entrepreneurship. Of course, you are likely to have challenges with the economy. And as a country, you can't boast of stable power supply. Of course, your economy will definitely be in a state of paralysis, as is the case with Nigeria. And of course, that takes me quickly to the story about National Grid. It's unfortunate that National Grid continues to experience vandalism. But while efforts should be made to guide the National Grid, at least there should be improved security surveillance. It is also important for the country to begin to appreciate the fact that stable power supply is not rocket science. It is not. It's because we approach it from the point of view of being rocket science, which has not helped the country. Why must the country be talking of National Grid from time to time when, as we speak, there is a law in place? It is already passed by the National Assembly. It's for every state to domesticate that law so that individuals, communities, educational institutions, local government councils, and other stakeholders could now begin to generate electricity and, of course, distribute. Once you do that, you now discover that stable power supply would be commonized. That's what the country should be talking about.
Okay.
Commonize stable power supply so that domestic comfort will be enhanced. Economic growth will also be enhanced. Because you can't and you can't be talking of manufacturing, you can't be talking of industrialization, you can't be talking of economic growth as a country when you have not solved the problem of stable power supply. When,
Okay.
when you have not addressed epileptic power supply, you need
Supply in
to
the
address
country.
it.
All right, Malaki, we
And
have
the
to.
Electricity Act that we have in the country is a solution to that.
All right, let's take a quick break now. We'll be back to take more thoughts and take your messages. 0916257124, 0901-133-9791. These are the numbers to send your messages to. We'll pay some bills and we'll be back to take your reactions. It's newspaper headlines on Metro 97.7 FM. Please stay tuned.
Brighter future with a UTME score of 150 and above, your journey begins at Alethea University and Go Iwoye, Ogun State. Choose from our 35 accredited programs including Law, English Language, Mass Communication, Accounting, Business Administration, Economics, and Nursing Science, Medical Laboratory Science, Pharmacology, Computer and Software Engineering, Data Science, Cybersecurity, and many
Which
more.
university is that?
At Alethea University,
Huh?
we
What's the name of the
don't just
university?
offer degrees.
Alethea University. Alethea, I think it's a private university.
No, I know.
And
No,
professional,
yeah.
so you graduate with an edge. Tuition, affordable, payment plans, flexible. Your future limitless. Apply today at www.aletheauniversity.edu.ng or call our admissions office on 0906 282 80.
All right, you're still listening to newspaper headlines on Metro 97.7 FM. It's time to take the reactions you have sent in. Let's kickstart with this one. It says, where is the social security and the social welfare for Nigerians after oil sales daily and natural resources bring in trillions, leaving the shores of Nigeria? The law must take its course against those caught in river states. Agune Chamber Security, Nigeria is not, he said, Nigeria is not safe. Still looking for ESN. Why Boko Haram attacking the north heavily? Koboko Man, that's your message on the SMS portal. Let's see the reactions we have on WhatsApp. This one reads, it says, good morning, everyone in the studio. Happy weekend. Thanks for the newspaper headlines and enlightening us concerning things happening. Sisters from Anyawale Road in Ijaye, Ojokoro. Good morning, Metro crew. Is our foreign reserve, is it a benefit to Nigerians or a curse? Because I don't see how that translates to economic benefits for Nigerians. Wike is not for the PDP but APC because he said that Wike will only support the candidates that supports Tinubu. Emmanuel from Ijesha, that's your message. All right. Good morning, Metro crew. All we need mostly now before 2027 election is electoral reform, whereby one can vote at his or her convenience using PVC the way we use our ATM cards. We need electoral reform whereby INEC chairman is not solely appointed by the president. We need electoral reform whereby the result of the election is transmitted electronically. We need electoral reform that allows all election cases are decided before anyone is sworn in. Chief of Defense Staff is deceiving himself, not Nigeria. In Benue, Plateau, Katsina, Imo states, are they safe? Let a politician stop all these lies and give Nigerians good governance. Benjamin from Shogunle, that's your message, Benjamin. And this one reads, it says, good morning, Metro FM. Ahmed, Charity, Honorable Malaki, Alafin Oyo versus Oni of Ife. Old war path. This brawl of these two royal fathers remains a distraction. Rather, let them seek what is good for their people in the face of hardship in the land. What has the king that the poor people have not than celebration? Hence, without the subjects, kingship celebration remains an empty bath of yesterday. So RM AFC has made good their word with regards to increase in take home of political office holders, barring restraints that it will it will be tantamount to robbing Peter to pay Paul. Hence, it will be the opposite. It will be opposite to say that a specter haunts Nigeria. Were they buying jets, SUV for National Assembly members and choice houses for the VP, construction of Lagos and Calabar Coastal Highway, waste of various primitive capital accumulation and squandering of riches. No to brother, as God Almighty watches from a distance. On PDP, moles challenging Lagos meeting of PDP faithful and now bickering on southern zoning policy presupposes a dead political party as it undertakes as its undertakers surround its funeral piles. Let good luck Jonathan run for 440 from them so as not to lose his final values, and no one wrestles with a pig. What remains clean? Barrister Ogo Suji from First Tactile. All right, happy weekend to my darling Metro FM crew from GM to the list staff, the numero uno radio station. Kudos to Ahmed and Professor Malaki. I concur with Ashiwaju, our amiable presidents. Those in diaspora need to remember home. No place like home. Their supporters needed, not the one like Kemi Badnock. I'm disappointed in her. About the feud between the Alafi and the Oni, different people are taking sides on both kings. The time will definitely tell on this matter, but I don't want anything unpleasant to happen. When will the house of the PDP settle? Things continue to fall apart, Ogao. Can't the movement of trucks fix back to the tonight? Okay, as it's done before. I'm not happy about the one that crashed into shops. And TCN is saying the truth. CDAs employ security to watch their transformers at night. A group of young youth caught around network masts last month in my area. Vandalism is very bad. It's a wicked act. May God heal and bless Nigeria. Have a pleasant weekend. All right, Ronti from Igondo. Ronti, thank you. This one, Rita says, good morning, Metro FM. Stevie Kilo from Maryland says, your airways is very clear. Steve, thank you. I fault the Catholic bishops' move to disown politically inclined members, because if we continue this way, how do we correct the rot in the stem? We're all grown about. I think Catholic Church members should get into politics to change the narrative. How humble. It's not the 250,000 loan that changed the young Otedola. It's his discipline, his cool-headedness, and the well-trained mind by family with the fear of God. There's no crisis in the PDP. The political opponents will always use the press to hype negative vibes about the PDP. Let it be known that there is no face-off between Wiki and Makinde. It's all a game plan to further strangulate and destabilize the PDP. Both men are working for Tinubu. May God help this nation. Stevie Kilo from Maryland. And this one says, good news that our foreign reserve is increasing. The economic improvement should reflect in the lives of the masses. We need better living in this nation. Ihiana Chochibuzo, that's your message. Good morning, Ahmed and Malaki. Charity. President Tinubu begs Nigerians in Japan to come back home to help out. However, he forgot to ask them how many of them are there by Jagba syndrome. If the economy of Nigeria is being properly managed as a corrupt free country by successive government, I doubt if the number of Nigerians in Japan and other foreign countries would have been this much. Funsho Adeyelu from Baruwa in Ipaja. And this one reads, says, Bonjour Ahmed, Honorable Malaki and Charity, how are families doing? Without making any appeal, Nigerians in diaspora would have loved to contribute to the progress at home, but not to a massive corruption culture, intolerable insecurity, and crippling economy. My advice to all those rooting for Tinubu's re-election in 2027 is to do a godly check on the state of the nation. On Wike's presence in the PDP, I wish I can access his contacts to have a man-to-man discussion with him. Merci beaucoup. I come in peace. Emmanuel Urumade from Ojota. And a happy Friday. Onya from Lagos says, President Tinubu, please, it's not enough to invite our people in Japan to come and invest here. Create an enabling environment that will attract them. Fix insecurity and power problem in the country. Provide dividends of democracy to the people. They will come over and invest. But it will not happen because 2027 polls have taken over the polity. Those criminals among Anambra State security outfits who attacked core members recently should be charged to court immediately, along with their heads who tried to cover this evil and maximize A maximum punishment given to them to serve as an example to other criminals in uniform. Good morning, gentlemen of the press. Job well done to you both. Please, is it that people who are supposed to advise President Tinubu of his policies and reforms are not working in the life of the people? Prices of everything going up and up. The naira has no value, and the killings of innocent Nigerians is getting too much. As if we don't have leaders who have blood that flows in their bodies. Very unfortunate. Sunday from Ikeja. And Steve Omar follows us from Ogba in Ifakoja. He says, good morning, Ahmed, Malaki, and Charity. On external reserve, $41.05 billion record rise. The question is it about the record increase or how it's impacted the citizens? And of what relevance is it to celebrate the record increase while Nigerians are wallowing in poverty and hardship in the midst of plenty? Why is the defense chief deceiving himself, telling tales by moonlight that terrorist attack have reduced and the southeast now calm after the arrest of Simon Ekpa, even as reports all over the media of killings and invasions of towns and villages across the country, Katsina, Plateau, and Benue State in particular? Enough of this unholy defense chief. Thus, I maintain that Nigeria must be totally and sincerely restructured if there must be genuine peace and unity, progress, and development going forward. All right. Steve Omar falls, I have to rush through that. We need to join Abuja for the news right now. I think I still have 3 messages. When we return, I'll definitely take them. Let's join Abuja for the news. Big thanks to Malaki Ugo and Charity Igedosa for being a part of the production this morning. My name is Ahmed Olalekan, taking you over to Abuja for the news. We'll be back at 8. Please stay tuned. Oh boy. Yes. The time flew so fast. Oh, wow. Okay, we have to go. Merci beaucoup. We'll be back at 8. Thank you.
Radio Nigeria.